Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Okay, welcome to the February meeting of the East Lampeter Township Sewer and Stormwater Authority meeting. Present, we have on Zoom member Fred Clark. Can you hear us, Fred?
Yes, can you hear me?
We have Todd Stump, myself, Rick Robinson, and Vinny Patel. Representing the township, we have Charlie Thomas and Kim Pietrek. Matt Beachy, and I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. Sawyer. And Steph Leakway. And I invite you to join us in the pledge of the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, and we've had the minutes for at least 2 weeks. Unless there's any additions or corrections, we're going to stand approved as written. Treasurer's report under sanitary sewer.
Checks that need written in the amount of $3,960.55. And as of the end of January, we have a checking account balance $11,825.21. The check's kind of overall.
Yeah. Requisitions.
We have one requisition, it's number 03-682, payable to HRG in the total amount of $5,040 for work related to the Oaks Pump Station 2 elimination project and the Strasburg Pike Sewer Extension project.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve or pay the bills and requisitions.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Stormwater.
Rick, we have checks that need written amount $314,050.90. And we have, as of the end of January, a checking account balance of $3,096.39. So the necessary money will be transferred from the savings to cover the checks.
Okay, looking for a motion to pay the bills for the sewer authority or stormwater authority.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Your old business under sanitary sewer CFA funding.
The first item is the Oaks Pump Station 2 elimination project. HRG, we met with the township staff to review the project drawings and big documents, and those have been finalized. The project was advertised for bids in the Lancaster newspaper, and so they're out for bids currently. We have Bernadette here. She's assisting with the acquisition of the easement that's needed across the Nisley property that's required for the project. And then, just before we get to that, just update on the project schedule. So the bid opening for that see bids until March 9th, prior to the March meeting. And then have those for your action at the March 11th meeting there that week, where we could then work to, assuming we got favorable bids in the project, and then work to issue notice to proceed to the contract once the necessary documents are signed and received. Substantial completion for the project would be August 12th, with a August 28th final completion. So, for that estimate, we expected, this is nothing, or what documentation is needed.
Matt Cream said.
But I think that it was not signed. We were not able to complete the easement agreement, so.
Correct. And so he submitted the resolution.
The resolution to, proceed with, taking the land necessary, taking the easement.
Now we're back and forth with Mr. Nisley's solicitor and just couldn't get anywhere fast. So that's why the eminent domain, I think you have to be there for signature, right? Well, you have to approve it.
There were, as my understanding is, there's two parcels. One was owned just by Mr. Nisley. The second parcel that will be the subject of the eminent domain proceedings was owned by Mr. Nisley and two other individuals. And I think the coordination of getting everybody to agree is where that one fell down. And so that's why we have to proceed with eminent domain.
So we're looking for a motion then to approve the eminent domain
To approve the resolution.
resolution.
I will make the motion that we approve resolution number 2026-1, or I think
It's going to be it's round number 4 out to, I'll give any of the numbers.
2026-4.
You got a motion? We have a second to approve.
I'll second the motion.
You, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Approved.
And I'll get you the exact number. It might be 5. Oh, you can put it correct in the minutes and we'll have it correct on that.
Okay, scope of funding changes then, Matt.
So in your engineer's packet, there is a letter that's been drafted. This is being sent to the CFA Program Division Director with respect to the requesting a reduction in scope change. So if you recall, there was, I think, 7 projects previously we were requesting CFA funding for based upon the funding that was awarded. So we're identifying the projects that we're looking to utilize the funding for and remove those other ones from CFA's list. That way, if there's another round of funding that comes out, if we're to pursue that, you can go back after those projects themselves. So this basically just summarizes that information and indicates that and attaches a revised cost estimate and revised project budget with funding source allocations. Just requesting authorization here for the chairman to sign a letter, and then we'll get that submitted to CFA. There likely will be a document that will be signed by CFA. And that will be the original document was signed by the chairman as well as Harris contact information there for that as well.
Voting for that.
I would say so, just to authorize submission of the letter.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve the changes to the funding, the CFA funding for this project.
I'll make that motion to approve the changes and give Rick permission to sign the letter.
I'll second that.
The motion, the second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Opposed?
ARPA funding, Strasburg Pike project.
HRG also met with township staff to review the project drawings for this project, and based on that, we finalized the bidding document. That project is also advertised for bids, and it's currently out there. We review. We did receive a minor comment from PADEP on the water obstruction encroachment permit application. Our staff worked and actually resubmitted that here today, back to them. So they anticipate getting that permit very shortly. They wanted to see, another, concrete washout or something along those lines there. So that information was resubmitted, for that. Project schedule, that is the same as the other. Bids would be, due and open March 9th, come before the authority on March 11th. We would then work to issue this to proceed as soon as the documents are received. Substantial completion August 12th, final completion August 28th. One is continue to work with Solicitor Green's office with the acquisitions of those very for that. Roughly six easements or so that are needed for that project.
Yeah, they were hand delivered yesterday, or the day before. There was one that was mailed because the property was quarry. So there was one property owner, I think of three of the properties, so they all went that person. So signature back. To secure those easements, to get those recorded.
The project's supposed to end around August 28th, and the deadline for the funding is September 30th. That gives us enough time. That 30 days is enough window for you?
I think so. And I've copied the plans for both of those projects, in case anybody will look at it after the meeting.
Okay.
Federal business under sanitary sewer.
This for, board knowledge, PennDOT is doing the improvements to the the US 30 462 interchange there. A couple of meetings ago, you had signed some agreements with respect to cost there. PennDOT approved that cost share agreement, and PennDOT's consultants are reaching out. They've reached out to the township and HRG. They would have a meeting to go over potential conflicts that were listed in that area, discuss design of its possibilities and relocations as necessary. So we're continuing working on that.
Okay. Stormwater. Does anybody know anything?
We move on.
Thank you. New business under sanitary sewer. Rockville GMS funding opportunities.
New. A couple of handouts for you guys. My name is Harlan Lawson. I work for GMS Funding Solutions, joined by our president, Amy Cronenberg, as well as Steve Kessler with Fernmore Homes. And that's an executive summary of the So sure, being really nearby to the project, you're familiar with the shops at Rockville. It's the shopping center that for a long time had around 50% vacancy. Fernmore Homes purchased the property in 2022. Since that time, has been advancing plans to redevelop the site. They've continued They've advanced the demolition of some of the spaces there where they intend to develop 22 acres of it into a modern residential community and then rehabilitate the remaining 312,000 square feet of commercial space. The limitation that Fernmore Homes is facing is sewer line that extends from the shops at Rockville property on the southern side of Route 30, crosses Route 30, and then meanders along that unnamed tributary before it hooks into the main line on the north side of Mill Creek. That line's capacity is a limitation to the full-scale development that the redevelopment effort on that shops at Rockville property will entail. So the project that Fernmore is advancing is to upgrade approximately 3,330 linear feet of that line, increase its capacity to allow the capacity necessary for the rehabilitation project. That's extending across Mill Creek all the way and then bordering Route 30 and the 4 waterway crossings like I mentioned. Additionally, the covered bridge property that's right there across the street from Route 30 at the project site, there's some existing erosion issues that Fernmore will address as well as a component of the overall project. The project cost for that entire effort, engineer estimated at $3.6 million. So that's a substantial enough cost for the development of this project that Fernmore Homes is looking to partner with the authority potentially to advance a federal funding request. We're looking at 2 specific programs. The first one is the Water Resources Development Act through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So that's a federal program that does require a match. The request amount that we would be advancing is around $2.6 million, where Fernmore Homes would be providing the rest of that local match and providing the interim financing. The other federal program is the Congressionally Directed Spending Program, where we would be advancing with a $2.6 million federal request, where Fernmore Homes would be providing the remainder in match funds. For both of these programs, it is a requirement of the program that a governmental entity such as the authority serve as the applicant and as the sponsor for that funding request. So that's why we're here today. We'd like to make the request for the authority to partner with Fernmore Homes to serve as the applicant and the sponsor for the request. Fernmore Homes would enter into a cooperation agreement, indemnification agreement, whatever would be the preference of the authority on that end. Fernmore would fund the escrow account to ensure that interim financing and match funding is well taken care of. And then Fernmore would be ensuring compliance with all this federal compliance for requirements such as environmental review clearance, post of work compliance, GMS, assisting Fernmore Homes would be making sure that all that compliance documentation requirements are being processed. So happy to answer any questions, but again, just summed up, we'd like to seek ELSA's participation to serve as that federal sponsor for the purpose of applying to these 2 programs.
What's the timeline, you think, from when you do the application to when you actually get awarded?
We expect the application window is not open yet, although we do expect it to open relatively soon. I think in terms of what we normally see from the timeline, I would probably speak to that a little bit better than I can.
Hi there, Amy Cronenberg, President of GMS Funding Solutions. So these are typically negotiated as part of the budget. They're federal earmarks, essentially. So we'd love to see the budget passed on time, but we've seen what that's looked like in the past couple of years. So it's really up in the air and contingent upon we get along in DC enough to pass something.
These are 2 different applications, am I correct? I mean, that's what the congressionally directed one versus the U.S. Army, States Army Corps of Engineers.
They are. So the WRDA, that's the acronym, point, that's more of a partnership with the Army Corps. So you submit a letter of intent to the Army Corps. And if they receive enough support from the elected officials, then they might include your project in a bill. And then you're working through Army Corps funding. So just say these are two different sources, but they work together. And so then the CDS, the Congressionally Directed Spending, there actually is a formal application process for that, that you submit to each of the senator's offices. And then they will evaluate the projects that they received. They'll narrow it down and they'll submit essentially their wish list to the Appropriations Committee. There are various sub-appropriations committees that go through and mark those up, meaning they cut projects, and it goes through several rounds of markups before it actually gets to the final appropriation. So there is a pretty substantial effort to be into that throughout the process and hopefully keep the project on the final list. So one is a more informal process in working collaboration with Army Corps. The other is a formal application.
It seems fine to me that we can partner with them. I mean, I don't see any real problem with that at all. Or did you have
I
concerns?
don't have any concerns with it so long as we can work out an amenable cooperation agreement with them as to how various matters are going to be handled, funding, costs, things of that nature. Timing, what the involvement of the authority is going to be. So until we see, you know, a cooperation agreement that we can look at and determine if it's in the authority's best interest. I mean, you could say, yeah, we'll go it, but it should be conditionally approved so we can work in details.
Yes, ma'am, agreed. So we have certainly template cooperation and indemnification agreements that we can share with you all. We always encourage solicitor review. That our template's been through a lot of solicitors. So really what we're looking for this evening is your endorsement for us to move forward in collaboration with staff to start pursuing these funding sources. If they are awarded, typically that's the point where you say, we're not signing any grant agreements or formally accepting this award until we have that cooperation and indemnification agreement in place, which we can work on in the meantime.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with this either, as far as, you know, at least starting this process. There's no downside for us. Let them start the process, but we still need to get this agreement put to bed. This has been long enough.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I mean, if the grants aren't approved, does this have any effect on the overall project?
No, I mean, we have, you know, the job has to be done. So this is obviously a major expense for us. So we're trying to, it wasn't something we anticipated when we bought the property. And we're trying to get it as you know, as palatable as we can so we can make it work. And this is the way to do it. So we have our friends at GMS working on it. And moving forward.
I did want to mention, thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
I did want to mention what Furmore disclosed to us when we started working together was that they had budgeted $1 million for unforeseen utility costs going into the project. So this is obviously far exceeds that. I will say that these funding sources don't require the amount of match that we're pledging, but because they budgeted that, we thought it was only appropriate that they put that much toward the project. And we also think because we're going above and beyond what the minimum match requirements are, that will help the competitiveness of our asks. But it's an extraordinary cost to the project that can't keep this.
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, I agree with Fred that, you know, we got to keep moving on this, trying to move forward, but it also has to, you know, be approved by the solicitors too, you know. I don't know if we need some sort of.
The motion on
We
that?
should have a motion authorizing staff to work with GMS. Take us when the time comes to work on a cooperation agreement.
Make a motion that East Lampeter staff works with Bergmore Homes and GMS funding. It all is comes down to the final approval from our solicitor on the Rockville project.
Anything else need to be added to that?
No, I think we're good to get started, yes.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. to
I'll
approve the-
second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Thank you for your time.
Any other new business under sanitary school? Hearing none. New business under stormwater, MS4 audit.
Yesterday, well, we were supposed to have a audit just after already meeting through DEP. With the weather, the way they delayed it, and we actually had met with 3 DEP personnel yesterday. We went into a meeting at 9 AM, got out about quarter after 3. Very lengthy discussions about our projects. My opinion went very well. Very well. They commented on the work East Lampeter's doing towards the permit. They have a lot of people out there that aren't working as well as we are. We will get a report probably within the next few weeks. I'm hoping to have that before our next meeting. I can get that out there. But didn't see any major concerns. Fix up. But other than that, they talked about how we have paperwork walkthroughs at some of our sites and public works building was outstanding. So that's a good feeling coming. There was a person from Harrisburg Central Office, there was a representative from Berks County, and there was a representative from Dauphin County. All came in. We sent paperwork off to them about 2 weeks ago for their reviews, which gave them questions to why we do things the way we do. But yeah, I feel real positive about yesterday's audit.
I realize the audit doesn't have anything to do with, but did they set a figure of what we have to spend again now?
Not yet. It's one of the questions I did ask is where we stand with the permit, and they just smiled. They're getting close. But things we're doing now, they told us we have to still go. I did question, probably concerned of the board to them about we're doing all this work for this MS4 permit. What about the people that aren't doing anything for the permit? Their comment was, we have 70 interviews we're doing this year. It's going to come out. They're going to realize that they're way behind.
What's the penalty for being way behind?
I didn't even ask any figures. I didn't even want to talk money. But yeah, because if their audits come back bad, then EPA gets involved. So I don't think, knock on wood, we'll be seeing EPA, but they were very impressed with what we had. But they said they've got 70 interviews, most in Lancaster County. They'll find the ones that are laxing public permits. Hoping to have the new permit out maybe this year, because we're still operating 2007.
Mhm.
And they asked us about why we wouldn't, look at some more poles. Well, we're still operating under the old permit. We only had to do it once in 5 years, and we did that. So the old permit's still extended. They didn't have an answer for that. We'll go back to the state and find out if we need to investigate around falls again. But we've done it before. That's just information we just gather. But yeah, a lot of good questions yesterday. Long day,
The permit lasts for how many years, Charlie?
5 years. You know, supposed to be over in 23,
Yes.
and now we're into 26 and we still don't have. So, yeah. Can't wait to see the report. Like I said, once I get it, if I get it a lot before the next meeting, I'll get it out there. I'll present it at the next meeting.
Any other new business under stormwater? Any other business?
We did have one thing. We saw an article, Lancaster City was awarded Penvest. Matt, did you see that? For a couple of their
I
projects?
didn't see that, the article, but I did see that they were awarded Penvest funding, for some of their upcoming projects.
Yeah, I know one was awarded, but then they got 2 of their sanitary big projects funded.
Mhm.
So until they get all that paper stuff that goes through, we got a little time. Talking with Kim Tara at this meeting, thinking March we'll have Scott Shear come in here, start talking. Because I think 2 of the projects we looked at was pushing 2 million.
East St. Peter's share, right? That's what you're talking about.
So the funding that we still have, that's going to put a pretty good dent in until we go through Scott Shear and all the paperwork in 3-4 months. So the city needs to do all the Penvest paperwork. I can't sure how long that takes. So the timing might be right to start talking to Scott in March. I did email him yesterday, and told him to be prepared to come to the March meeting.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah.
Any other business? Any public comment? Motion to adjourn?
Mhm.
Seven.